The UH-1 Huey throbbed with noise, a mechanical heartbeat pounding against the dense Vietnamese sky. Joseph sat near the door, his boots braced, rifle between his knees, fingers twitching like they knew something he didn't. Below them, the jungle swayed. The others in the chopper were quiet. Even the pilot hadn't cracked a joke in 10 minutes. Then it came. A flash of light and the cracking boom of impact. The sky turned sideways. Joseph didn't have time to pray, only to watch the treetops rush up at him like a closing fist. When he opened his eyes, everything was still. Fluorescent lights buzzed softly overhead. The air smelled like antiseptic and something sweeter. Flowers. He was in a hospital bed, pale sheets tucked too tight around him. His left arm itched beneath a thick bandage. A nurse passed by the door, then stopped. She turned her head slightly, as if she felt his stare. But he hadn't moved. Joseph tried to sit up, but his muscles wouldn't obey. Panic scratched at the edges of his mind. He closed his eyes to calm himself, but the darkness never came. Even with his eyelids sealed, he saw the ceiling, the walls, the nurse walking down the hall. He could see the next room over, where a young man was weeping at the foot of a bed. 2 rooms down, an old woman mumbled to herself. He heard her, not through the walls, but inside his skull, as clear as if she whispered in his ear. He gasped, eyes flying open. The scene didn't change. He was still seeing, still hearing, not with his ears or eyes, but with something else, something deeper. The nurse came back, eyes soft and professional. "You're awake," she said, but her voice was wrong, distorted, as though layered with other voices, like a dozen people speaking in perfect unison just beneath her words. "What happened to me?" Joseph rasped. "You were in a crash. You're lucky to be alive." But he saw it then, behind her polite smile, behind her eyes, a flicker of something dark, a shadow like a crack running through glass. It pulsed. It watched him back. Joseph tried to scream, but his mouth only moved soundlessly. He shut his eyes again, but the vision only expanded. He could now see the entire floor, doctors pacing, patients sleeping, a janitor quietly humming as he mopped up a spill. He was not just seeing through walls, he was seeing beyond them. No one noticed as the monitor beside his bed started to beep faster. No one noticed as his pupils dilated and stayed that way, even when the nurse shone a light in his eyes. Joseph lay still, eyes closed, still watching, still listening, and somewhere from the edge of the unseen, someone was watching him.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and explore our Patreon for additional content. Even if you're not up for spending, there's still plenty of great stuff worth checking out. But for now, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and enjoy this video.
In 1972, the Central Intelligence Agency initiated a covert research effort with leading scientists and researchers to explore the phenomenon known as remote viewing, the purported ability of individuals to perceive distant or unseen targets using only the mind. The goal was to determine whether this psychic skill could be harnessed for intelligence-gathering purposes. Over the next 5 years, a series of experiments and studies were conducted to assess the validity and potential applications of remote viewing. Participants attempted to describe locations, objects, and events hidden from their physical senses, often with surprising accuracy. Despite intriguing results, the CIA decided to conclude its involvement in the project in 1977. Responsibility for the research was then transferred to the Defense Intelligence Agency, which continued to explore the potential of remote viewing under a new codename, Stargate. This name, originally coined by the DIA, later gave way to another title, Grill Flame, as the project evolved. What began as a curious investigation into human perception quietly became one of the U.S. government's most unusual intelligence experiments. Although many skeptics claim that remote viewing was never effective for intelligence gathering, that doesn't mean it lacked value altogether. In fact, remote viewing continued to be used long after the official programs were shut down, and there's reason to believe it is still quietly being used today. Around the world, countless studies, some published in massive volumes and supported by millions of documents of research, have pointed to a surprising conclusion: remote viewing works. It might not fit neatly into current scientific models, and it certainly isn't explained by anything supernatural, but the evidence suggests that this phenomenon is real in some measurable way. Perhaps the most astonishing part? The experiments that support remote viewing aren't limited to classified labs or government programs. They can be repeated at home. Anyone can try it. That's the part they never wanted widely known, that this isn't some elite or mystical skill, but something accessible to anyone willing to explore it.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and explore our Patreon for additional content. And remember, the journey doesn't end here. It's just the beginning.